The Road Freight Association is positioning itself as the ideal partner to transport operators, looking to have a voice in the transportation sector. I speak to Gavin Kelly, CEO, to find out more.
Of South Africa, it's a very relevant association for a number of reasons. First of all, it gives transport operators, or what people commonly call transporters, the ability to interact with government, having a common voice, and there's no chance of them being attacked or singled out or vilified because they've raised a couple of questions. So, for example, if you're at the border post and you're not being able to get through and you've been standing there for a couple of days, the association gives you that ability to interact with various stakeholders and to put those sorts of challenges on the table. And then they don't turn around and say, okay, transporter ABC, you're up to shenanigans or you're up to no good and we're going to take it out on you. Because that does happen, unfortunately, in all sorts of industries. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it's an association that has a lot of skilled people in terms of many of the things that transporters do. So we can offer them advice, we can offer them guidance, we can interact with the various entities that run or control or relate or create standards in terms of what operators do. So around things that in the industry are called dangerous goods, people on the street will call it chemicals, things like petroleum. When our members have questions around that in terms of perhaps vehicle design or how to operate the vehicle or what they should be doing, then they can come along to an association like us that helps them with that. And we carry no fear of favor in terms of whether they're doing right or wrong, and we don't try and steal people's ideas if they've got a good idea of how to run something. We say, guys, this is what the law is, this is what you need to do, so we offer that. And then, of course, it's a place where operators or transporters can chat about things that are affecting them without worrying about competitive or collusive types of discussions. So it's a home for home. It's a place where you can have somebody to fight in your corner when there really are issues that are challenging.
Now, how are you driving a better deal, not only for your members, but for the industry as a whole, when you consider the fact that it is regulated?
Well, Leroy, I think that's a very good question, because one of the first things that many people ask us is, so is every single transporter, every single truck company a member of the RFA? And the answer to that is no. We are not compulsory. The government hasn't put it into legislation yet, and we're not sure what their thoughts are. But like around the rest of the world, for example, in Australia or the UK or the United States, you have to be part of an independent association which looks at the way in which you run your business and looks at the standards. So right now, we're a voluntary organization, so we offer various benefits, and a number of them are operational things on the roadside every day, so dealing with law enforcement, dealing with the traffic police, and the things that happen on the roadside. It's not just corruption-style stuff, which is what we deal with, but it's other practical issues. There are various training seminars that we put up for our members. Members get that at a reduced or free fee structure. There are networking opportunities. For example, we do a fair amount of research, which is made available to our members. Green technology is a huge thing right now. And there's a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of confusion. I don't know, Leroy, if you've looked at putting solar panels on your house. I mean, it's like a plethora of information. The same thing with trucks and small trucks, big trucks, the types of vehicles. So we offer our members a whole range of workshops, a whole range of information, really to help them remain sustainable and continue in their business as best possible.
Now, over the last few years, road freight have unfortunately performed rather badly. What are we likely to look at over the next 2 to 3 years?
Right, Leroy, as you know, unfortunately in this country, we have no rail, no matter how much you and I would like it to play its role. And the association has said, both to the Department of Transport and to Transnet Freight Rail and the various authorities that are responsible for rail, and that's probably also an issue, that there isn't a single entity that can really get this all together. We've said there are certain things that shouldn't be on the road. They should be on rail. And where you have a distance that's 500 to 600 kilometers between where you manufacture or mine, in our case, a fair amount of it is mining, and your export point, it should be on rail. It's the most efficient way of moving cargo. That's been shown around the world. So, faced with that, and faced with the deterioration that's happened in rail, we can only see road freight taking up more and more freight. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I suppose there will be two sides to that argument. The first side is always going to be, we need to keep the economy going, we need to use what we have, and we need to make sure we get a good return on that transport on those goods. The other side of the argument is we can't continue pounding the roads or plying the roads, use whatever term you'd like to use, with the amount of trucks that are continually growing, because our infrastructure just cannot handle it. A fair amount of our infrastructure was built in the pre-70 years, whether we like that or not. They're not built for the large trucks. And obviously you want a larger truck to move more cargo, to make it more ton per kilometer effective or efficient, or the cost ratio to be far better. So in the short term, we're going to see an increase in road freight, but hopefully, we're going to get these lines up and running, and we're going to be able to move the freight that should be on rail back onto rail.
Now, said that, then what is the Road Freight Association's proposition to potential members?
Well, for members, anybody who's not a member of the Road Freight Association, the first thing that we ask is, why are you not a member? Are you not interested in ensuring that you're up to date with all the new technology, that you play by the rules, that you understand how the rules affect you, that you have the support structure to advise you on the various things? So one of the most important aspects in road freight that affects us today, and is probably the reason for a lot of the carnage on the road, or a lot of the burning of trucks on the road, are these foreign individuals. And everybody wants to shun away from that. Why do we have an issue of foreigners being employed in this sector and many other sectors? But why? For one of the basic reasons is that transport operators don't want to play by the rules. They don't want to register with the National Bargaining Council, and they don't want to be part of independent associations that play a role in ensuring that the standards are kept and maintained where they should be.